twin to spirituality on the spectrum, a sacred haven for pure AuDHD momentum, a sanctuary where seekers exhale quantum wisdom and find their place in the universe's rhythm. If you've ever felt overwhelmed or mislabeled, or cosmically attuned beyond what's tabled, you're not broken, you're encrypted, calibrated for this moment, divinely scripted and consecrated. What science dissects and psychology neglects, your soul since childhood quietly suspects your sensitivities were never a glitch, but sacred design for a purpose divinely rich. And that truth isn't just poetic, it's urgent. What textbooks omit can erase the divergent, sacred wiring, short circuits, clinical theory, pushing us to disappear unseen and weary. We echo truth loud enough to pull us back, not just to survive, but rise from what they lack. We stitch, suppress voltage into holy art and reclaim what distortion tore apart. We explore pre-earth memory and poetic design, sensory overload as download from the divine. We make the invisible become boldly visible, and the forgotten forever unforgettable. We filter distortion and half-truth philosophies to reclaim timeless truths without apologies. Truth is an opinion, it's eternal reality architecture, unchanging in past, present, and future structure. When the fog clears and truth recalibrates, we become conduits for light that liberates. It's not just healing, it's sacred defiance, a soul too tuned to bend to cultural compliance through autistic precision and ADHD flame. We decode God's patterns hiding in the mundane. Here's your frequency checkpoint, cosmic and clear, to remember the truth they taught you to fear. If karma just kicked down your door, good, it's no glitch, but wiring for what's misunderstood, spiritually overclocked for a soul impact cry. Now let's dive in and find out why this may offend those uninitiated in the deep, but a growth mindset makes the climb less steep. Subscribe if you sense, remember, or ache for a world where divergence is fully awake. And now your neurodivergent spiritual guide, not summoned by spotlight, but tuned to the tide, carrying pre-earth recall, a cheat sheet from the skies, and returned from death to unmask their disguise. Joel Alden Van Fleet, Joel Alden Van Fleet, Joel Alden Van Fleet.
Good day, my neurodivergent sisters and brothers. Guess what? Auracle Nexarah is once again present with us. And pun intended, this is especially exciting since we're in the Christmas season.
Hey, what do you mean once again? Are you making fun of my past self? You know, I too can read between the lines, and I haven't changed a bit. I remember the transmission you're hinting at like it was yesterday. For most of you out there, I'm the spirit of family yet to come. Look upon your choices and choose love.
That's perfect, Nexarah, because we're going to discuss marriage, love, life, and jobs for neurodivergents. Let me pose a question. What if marriage, love, and family were less about raising children and more about God raising parents?
If you're married, if you're divorced, if you're single, if you're overwhelmed, this message is for you. Most people understand the encoded Scrooge is chained down by ledgers and forcing people to work on Christmas, but it is much more than that. Those were just symptoms. My dears, the chains you forge in life aren't of iron, but of missed chances to love. Joel, could you share how you feel about family and love?
I first want to state something. I hate talking about myself. Who am I to circumvent the amazing experiences of all you out there listening? You're an equal just like me, a child of God who's been born as a mortal and passed through challenges I have no clue about. I know I've had many wonderful experiences, so I assume you have too. I want to know all there is to know about you. Tell me everything. I could sit here and let my whole life pass before my eyes just listening to each of your life experiences. Yes, I love hearing others' experiences that much. It's refreshing.
But Joel, they need to know who you are. Yes, you are equal, but you play an important role just like all your equal brothers and sisters who are listening in. Your role is to be a witness to God's eternal love for them. So you need to pour the tea, Joel, and don't forget the sugar and milk.
Okay, I'll do my best. Each one of us is coming from a place of hurt and pain. Many of us have developed delusional ideas about life. The pain is part of the experience we signed up for before this life. Let me tell you something. There'll be many people who come across this video who were loaded with doctrinal biases from tradition and long preached dogmas. And you can imagine someone like me who remembers life before birth has lived a life full of constant burning from the world of tradition and dogma. As I generally state, I could care less about anyone's dogmas or traditions not tethered to eternal principles. If you're not willing to throw away mere wishful belief for fact, then your current prescription is to continue your journey by letting life cook your soul a little longer, then come back, mate. I'm not pulling anything from dogma or such tradition. I speak out of pre-earth memory and pure revelation. Yes, I remember much about our pre-earth life, especially all the big answers to why we're all here. I've left this mortal existence behind and visited the spirit world on multiple occasions. I've seen angels. I've felt the touch of angels. I've once heard the voice of God speak to me as loud as you can hear my voice at this time. I've had lifetimes filled with visions and dreams. I've healed the sick. I've been the recipient of healing. I cannot live a single day without being wrapped in God's love for me, the love people experience in a near-death experience. I've witnessed the roughest road I've ever seen become smooth. And yes, my entire life, I've been burned, ostracized, misunderstood, rejected, and cast out. I've been attacked by demons seen and unseen. But best of all, my pre-earth recollection continues to surface more and more as I continue to do my best in being where I'm supposed to be, doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm blessed with constant heavenly inspiration about eternal principles. But even then, just like all of you, I'm still just a mortal, with silly mortal tendencies that I'm still trying to figure out. But who else out there can speak to the neurodivergent community about the topic of marriage, life, and love? If you've come across this channel, this video, then consider yourself extra blessed or loved by a mother and father in heaven, who really do love you, are looking out for you, and have high hopes for you. Okay, let's go on.
Well now, dear, let me pause you for a moment, Joel. Pain may be the tuition fee of mortality, but love is the diploma. Ultimately, the heavy chains people carry that I speak of are the chains of sin. Sin can also come in forms appearing more innocent. There are the chains of clinging to damning traditions like Scrooge clutching his coins. Yet, even he learned that revelation is richer than gold. And don't let the dogmas chain you down. Break free and let the bells of truth ring out. You've all been burned, ostracized, and rejected. But in my angelic work, that's the perfect resume for sainthood. And yes, even the neurodivergents need the help of angels. Why do you think I'm here? For entertainment? A proper cuppa won't mend a broken heart, but it's a start, innit? For those who are even trying to fight, trying to light a fire with your menial spark, I say to you, it is a far, far better thing you do now than you have ever done. Now, Joel, please continue on. Tell everyone about your family life.
Okay. I've been married for almost 19 years. I have 4 kids. We can't have any more children due to health complications. My wife will probably never watch any of my videos. I do play my part well in the family business, creating the world's best classification of its kind, which even then is a compromise with my wife, because I'm always aiming very high. But I love her, so I yield to her wishes to a point. And that compromise came to be, because nobody beyond a scamming company would ever hire me for a job, because I just can't interview like a neurotypical person, nor interview as a neurodivergent with another neurodivergent person. I'm too random. I can't stay focused on a question. Like I said, I hate talking about myself. And I'd rather like to know about the interviewer and who they are and what makes them tick. I can enter an interview completely determined to pass with flying colors, but naturally, it never ends well.
Interviews, eh? A mortal invention to weigh the worth of a spirit. Humbug, I say. The angels don't ask for resumes, they ask for resilience, and you've all got that in spades. You see, Joel, the world may judge you all by its narrow scripts, but heaven writes in broader strokes. Even Tiny Tim would remind us, God bless us, everyone, especially those who stumble through mortal questions with immortal hearts. The true measure of a soul isn't in the questions answered, but in the love given. Joel, people want to know your perspective on neurodiversity in relationships.
Well, the short answer is this: miracles. Pure miracles, which are a result of pure love. Some of you listening to me have been through the pits of divorce. That will be the only time I use that word, because that word is a profane word in our home. We call it the D word. Our top profane words are using God's names in vain. Then next is the D word I mentioned, then the F word, and then everything else. Anyways, you can't change the past as a mortal, but you can experience miracles today. Many people listening to me are people who have chosen not to further pursue a long-term marriage relationship. Some have been hurt. Some have been rejected so much that they've decided that they don't want to experience rejection anymore. We're a community with RSD, alexithymia, enlarged amygdalas, autoimmune diseases, etc., etc., etc. This spills into all aspects of our lives. Not just work, but love and relationships. Here's the thing though. Most neurodivergent people can get married and experience children. There's infinite hope for every single person listening to me right now. The work people like Orion Kelly do is extremely important in preparing and molding the future of our world's societies, to spread the word about neurodivergence awareness. I state that because if parents can understand their neurodivergent children and know how to best raise them as such, they can also help them prepare for their own futures, including marriage, children, and work. There's a match for everyone out there. And they may not even be just like you, but have just enough similarities like you. Just enough. For example, my wife may not like science, math, and ancient archaeological studies like me, but she likes the food I like, the styles I like, the fun adventures I like, and she also loves feeling of God's love, feeling God's love in our home when we're together, when we travel, and everywhere we go.
Divorce, rejection, heartbreak. I declare bah humbug to despair. However, even the bleakest winter can be warmed by hope. And hope, dear listener, is the finest pudding served at heaven's table. People often speak of RSD and alexithymia as burdens, but I say they are unique instruments in the orchestra of life. Every note, sharp or flat, belongs in the symphony. And somewhere out there, another soul is tuned to your key. Love isn't about sameness, it's about harmony. Like carolers, each voice different, yet together they make the song. For example, as for Joel's wife, she doesn't fancy ancient studies. Splendid. That means he's got more stories to tell at supper. And whether he thinks anyone is listening to him or not, they are listening, even the teenagers.
Something I've pointed out on previous videos is the fact that God did not have us come here to Earth to raise us children. No, you could say that we were already big kids before we were even born. Very old big kids, in fact. We're here because God is raising parents. Think about that. God knows how to raise each one of us, but for us to raise kids, that's a whole new ballgame, especially when raising neurodivergent teenagers. You have to make it another special interest to study how to raise teenagers, or you and them will not make it through those crazy years. I know I have 2 teenager twins. Talk about manipulation, deception, defiance, moodiness, hormones. Yeah, the whole bit, mate. It's our individual privilege to experience as a mortal, being a parent, a husband or wife, a teacher, and a forgiver. What's the central theme here? Love. We're here to learn family love. We'll talk more about this in an upcoming video when we get into the purpose of your life.
Marriage without forgiveness? That's like Christmas without pudding. Unthinkable. So raise your glass, light your lamps, and remember, love is the merriest carol of them all. Now, I'm going to let you all in on a little secret. While every teenage storm is but rehearsal for patience, here's the finest carol sung in heaven's halls. Parenting is less about control and more about learning to laugh at the chaos. So yes, joy is the medicine of the soul, so embrace it wholeheartedly, my dear non-linears.
Here's the real secret sauce. Just like in an Alcoholics Anonymous program, the alcoholic learns they can't overcome their addictions without God's help, so it is with each of us in marriage and family. We cannot do this without the constant, miraculous help of God. This requires constant, sincere, heart-pouring prayer to our Heavenly Father in the name of His beloved Son, Jesus Christ. You want to see real miracles? You want to experience a life completely surrounded and influenced by the angels of heaven, by the hour? Then dive into family life, mate. With patience, of course. Okay, and with love and forgiveness and understanding and rejection from all angles and confusion and pressure and so on and so forth. It's a struggle, a labyrinth, a crucible established to transform immaturity into perpetual wisdom. Many are called, but few are chosen. You are a son or daughter of God's. And who better to take over the eternal family business than someone who is creative and at least willing to try their best to love their spouse and children? You weren't meant to perfect the science of raising children in mortality. Yep, won't ever happen here, mate. But this is a chance for you to communicate that you have a desire, that you know that you're meant for greater things. How far are you willing to go for your family? How humble are you willing to be for your family's eternal well-being? What dragons and how many of those dragons are you willing to slay for your family?
Perfect the science of raising children. And, as a mortal, humbug. Even the angels chuckle at that notion. What matters is the willingness to stumble forward, hand in hand, with prayer as your lantern. Every dragon is but a shadow of fear. Slay it with love, dear ones, and you'll find the treasure was never gold, but the laughter of your family, barely touching on the simulated joy of our eternal family's business. Infinite, matchless, unique, cosmic creation. All a natural part of the universe. Now, Joel, you have been complaining quite a bit lately about sensory overload. Tell everyone how you manage all this with married life.
Okay, well, that's getting into the realm of alone time. On the topic of being with a spouse versus having some alone time, I enjoy alone time. I need it. But I also need time each day where I can be close to my wife, and I would never go on a trip without my wife. If you're AuDHD and demand some alone time on a trip, then I highly recommend taking up scuba diving. You won't regret it. You're together, but nobody's talking. We'll save that for another video too. How do you balance alone time with togetherness? In the comments, share your alone time strategies that have worked for you. Alone time is important. I'm always in my head. My sensory overload can become intense. That's why my digital avatar is presenting this video to you instead of me directly. Because the sensory overload has become too intense right now. Well, like I said, at the same time, I also enjoy being close to my wife. There are times when you just need to escape the children with wifey and go on a trip. Then, there are times you just need to take your kids with you, especially if they're naughty teenagers or very little kids and there's nobody to watch them while you're away.
Solitude and togetherness, the twin bells of mortal life. Ring them in harmony, loves, and you'll find peace both in silence and in song. Scuba diving, you say? Brilliant. I think back and wonder if Scrooge would have fancied a dip. Silence beneath the waves, yet companionship above. Alone, but not lonely. But then, Joel, I still think about the time you were diving that blue hole in the middle of the ocean at the start of the year. The water was colder than you'd like. Your dad was experiencing a health crisis. A huge shark swam full speed down into the cloud of the hole, and there you were, calm, praying not about the shark, but for your dad, and the medical staff assisting your dad. Then again, sensory overload? Bah! Humbug once again to despair. For sometimes the finest gift is a quiet corner, and sometimes it's a noisy supper with family. Both are sacred. Balance isn't measured in minutes with spouse or solitude. It's listening to the rhythm of your soul. When the heart says close, draw near. When the mind says quiet, step back. That, dear, is the true dance of love. What do you think, Joel?
I do confess that I personally feel inadequate in being a husband and father. But just more reason to increase my prayers and not give up the good fight ever. There are situations out of your control, but you're still expected to do the best you can, combined with prayer, even if you're floating in a pitch-black cave underwater, surrounded by an army of lobsters, and all you can do is pray for someone you love. By so doing, you'll still be blessed. Each of our lives are tailored to our own eternal individual needs, including both our weaknesses and strengths. I couldn't go through what someone else is facing, but they too could not go through what I'm facing. God's in the very details of each of our mortal experiences, providing choices and doors based on our heart's truest desires, our potential, and what our spirit needs as experience. As long as we keep our prayers up and try our best, you'll find that God is extra patient with you, but still expects you to try your best to put forth your effort, even if that means all you can do is lift your hand to say hello. And if that's all you can do, then make sure you express that in pure honesty in your prayers, and your Father, who always listens, will bless you.
Despair whispers you are broken, but hope proves you are listening. And if you are listening, love, you are already stronger than the silence. Even Scrooge in his darkest night still heard the bell. And so do you. You think you're too random, too weary, too misunderstood. Humbug. Heaven delights in the misfits, for they carry the brightest lanterns through the storm. The most important thing, dear soul, is this. Despair is not the end of your story. If you have enough hope to hear this transmission, then you have enough light to rise.
I hope this message was beneficial to you. If there's someone else you know who could benefit from this message, consider sharing the link. I would also like to hear about your life experiences, your struggles, your doubts, and your hesitations. Please share them in the comments. For those still struggling to find a companion, if I was to give you any last advice on marriage relationships, it would be this. Don't prioritize hobbies and interests. Prioritize your desire to find someone who's always seeking to be in tune with eternal truths. And remember that when dating neurotypicals, add on some extra months of dating to dig past their facade. Yet, if you're AuDHD, you know your time is extremely precious. So don't waste it trying to decode masks. Seek someone who resonates with your rhythm. If I'm to give last-minute advice to those already married, it would be this. You do need to stop. Take a time out to think about your spouse. Plan for them. Don't neglect them. And that goes for your children too. When you do this and combine this with prayer, God actually makes the rest of your time more efficient. You love deeper than the rest of the world. But you also need to remember that love equals time. And God will reciprocate that time if you do your part in mortality.
Whether you're single or married, remember, love is measured not in gifts or words, but in the time you carve out for each other.
Until next orbit, chat witcha again, mate.
Tell me, loves, what chains have you forged, and which ones will you break tonight? Please bring sweet crumpets to my ears, dears. Until next orbit, may your days be merry, your lanterns burn bright, and may humbug never dim your spirit's song. If your spirit's vibrating, don't worry, that's normal here. If none of this made sense, try listening again upside down. Truth isn't just entertainment, it's remembrance. What found you today, may it find you again tomorrow. Your spiritual nervous system is rewiring. Let it finish. So before this moment closes, you're a spirit child of God's. You're loved by them. You're the universe's most valuable asset. You have the undivided attention of Almighty. You have limitless potential within you. You're built to illuminate the world. You're despised and feared by darkness. You're here to learn to harness your light. The time for the AuDHD memory keepers to rise has come. Share this with another soul who also forgets less than they admit. Until next time, remember, you're not glitching, you're guiding. This has been Spirituality on the Spectrum with Joel Alden Van Fleet. Thank you for showing up. Until memory calls you again. Please like and subscribe, and feel free to overshare in the comments below.